What's up, friends? Happy Friday! Yay! It is Friday night and I feel alright. Party's here on the west side. I'm not on the west side though, so it doesn't make any sense. All right. Hopefully people start tuning in. Hey, everybody. And send. All right. It's a Friday night paint session. Let's paint the beach. Da 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 da. And we'll have fun painting the beach. Da 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 da. Ba da. So, as everybody's kind of tuning in, make sure you say hi if you're here to paint. And even if you're not here to paint, just say hi. It's all good. Don't need to be shy with me. It's actually getting so beautiful outside right now, so I'm concerned that nobody's going to show up tonight. Anyways, I am super happy to be here, and I love painting this painting. Hey, Rob Thorpe from London, how are you? It's been a long week. So I'm very, very happy to be in my super chill studio zone. I'm ready to release the week through painting and whiskey. How about you guys? Hey, Susan, good. I'm glad you're painting. Yay, Deb, I'm glad you're here too. Yeah, I'm excited to paint this too. I've painted this painting a lot of times. And I have to say, the background, it's all so easy until the grass. Hello, Colleen. What's up? Hey, Patty. Yes, Southeast Tennessee. I love it. I should be drinking my Jack Daniels, but I'm not. It's Crown Royal. Cheers to that, though. Cheers to Tennessee. Love me some Tennessee. Road trip through there. It's been a couple years now. It was before I had babies. You have Mike's Hard Blue Freezy. Dang, that's hardcore, Deb. That stuff goes straight to my face. I can't even handle it. I would fall asleep during this if I had one of those. But they're so delicious. Oh my goodness. Hey, Donna and Sheila. I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for showing up, everybody. It means a whole lot. Hey, Sandy. I'm glad you're here too. Yay, Susie just gave me a thumbs up. So, I actually live really close to the beach, but it's on like a Lake Erie. And it's definitely different than a tropical beach. Now, this painting, it could be potentially tropical. It's got like those teal colors and everything, but on the right day, it's got some pretty beautiful colors in there, and the tall grass definitely reminds me of like a Point Pelee, Lake Erie kind of scene, but tall grass can grow anywhere, like Florida, where it's warm and beautiful. But it is very warm here right now. Hey, Joe! Even though it's so nice, I can't resist joining you. I know. Thanks. That means a lot, actually, because it's like way too nice outside right now. Oh, man. It was raining really, really hard all day and got really, really, really nice just before I came down in the basement. So I think maybe we'll have like a little bonfire tonight or something after painting, which is lovely. My daughter is now in the hands of grandma, so that is also exciting for the evening for me and my husband because we had quite the week with her. She decided she was going to get a throat infection, and we had to bring her to the doctor, and now she's on antibiotics, and it was very, very long start of the week, but she's good now, so that means everything. Hi, Nancy. Yay, you made it. All right, perfect, Norma Jean. Save it up. Save it up. And actually, guys, I have to let you know, I don't have any real definite plans yet, but I've been scheming some things in the works. The reality is that my business has changed completely over the last few months and probably will be staying the same for a little while. Hey, Robin. Yeah. Yes. Martini, Florida, raining. Perfect time to paint the beach with us. All right. And, yeah, so I will still be doing the occasional free party, but probably not as often as I have been. And I'm kind of scheming putting something together where maybe some sort of little membership plan. We'll see, we'll see. But if you guys want to keep in the loop, like first to know everything, go to my website, juliespaintparty.com. And the first thing you see when you scroll down is sign up or like don't miss anything. Just put your email in and you'll get shot to my mail account, and you'll get be the first ones to know all the new information if and when that happens. Cool. Hey, Nicole. Yay. Hi, Pam. And Kathy's daughter here from LaSalle. Hey, Kathy's daughter. What's up? I'm glad you're here. This is awesome. So we don't get started till 7:30. So thanks for showing up early, everybody. That's really awesome. I'm just going to open my computer so I know what time it is. Yeah, we still got a little bit of time to chat. So let me know what's going on, everybody. What's the new news in the neighborhood? Is everybody getting excited that it's warming up? All right, Rachel. Awesome. I'm glad. Looking forward to adding this to my gallery. 8th time painting with me? That's so awesome. Thanks, Kathy. That's great. Or Kathy's daughter. Yeah, Joe's story is feeling better. Thank you for asking. She, as soon as we got her to the doctor and she got a few antibiotics in her, she pepped up right away. She's good at that. She bounces back real quick. Sure, Patricia, I can tell you what paints you need. So we'll be painting the whole background first. We are going to start with a light blue and a white. And then we'll move over to our royal cobalt blue. And then we will have teal or turquoise. And then we'll go to some light brown. This is called cashmere tan. Even if you have a dark brown and you want to mix it with white, that'll totally work. And then I have all sorts of different colors for the grass. So I use red and green and orange, and I actually use all the rest of the colors that I have. And I'm not gonna lie, the grass is something to be desired. So I'm gonna try my best to get you guys to the grassy knoll, and I just want us to embrace this time to practice our skills and let you know that I've painted a lot of grass. So there's definitely a learning curve, but we'll start small and we'll work big, and we'll kill it tonight. It's good. Okay, so where did I lose off? Okay, yeah, so I went through the paints. We have light blue, white, dark blue, teal, light brown, red, light green, and orange. And you know, they're all interchangeable. If you don't have one, it's not going to be a big deal, whatever. Brianne, I'm figuring out the membership thing. You gotta bear with me. There's a lot to figure out. I'm new to all this stuff, so I literally am like starting from scratch, learning everything. But whoever joins first is gonna get an incredible deal. So make sure you guys get your email into my email generator on my website, juliespaintparty.com. Go put your email in, and you'll be the very first to know and get it for an incredibly good price. Dark blue, you have Pacific blue. That's totally, so, if you have Pacific blue, when we're doing the sky, just put a lot of extra white in there. And then when you put that darker blue in the horizon line, it'll be significantly darker than the sky, and then you'll have a solid line there. So that's cool. Oh, Kathy, I know. I can't wait till we can be at the winery again. I miss my friends, miss pizza and people. And I love you guys so much for showing up. You are the absolute best people. It's just, yeah, yeah, I really don't know when that's going to be. I'm like not expecting to be able to paint in public till like I think Christmas would be like a really good goal, but I don't even know if that's going to happen. So just kind of have to roll with it, you know? It is very hard to know, Brian. That is for sure. Okay. So we got 5 minutes left. If anybody has any questions about supplies or anything to start, I'm just going to think of things that I said. Oh, I do have a one more paid virtual party coming up. It is on May 31st, and we're painting a beautiful lighthouse. Let me grab it. So it's only $15 to join the class, but this was a painting that I had booked in public at Garfield's restaurant in Colchester, and we were gonna do a taco bar and paint night. But like I said, we aren't gonna be able to do that. So what we're doing is we're gonna still offer a meal through Garfield. So you'll be able to go to Garfield's, grab a quesadilla, that not everybody leaves. So sorry, guys. I think I dropped out there for a second. Yeah, a little glitchy. Sorry, Taylor. I really feel like people shouldn't be on the internet right now, but maybe they are. Anyways, like I was saying, we're doing a party on May 31st. It's a Sunday, and if you live in the area, you can actually go to Garfield's, grab your quesadilla, and pick up all the supplies you need, or just your supplies, or just join the party with your own supplies. Yeah, oh no, I hope it's not one of those nights tonight. It doesn't make any sense. I promise no one in my house is using internet. I hope it's just like for just a second. Oh no, I know. Yeah, that really creeps me out when that happens. I'm sorry, guys. So just bear with me. If for some reason I do drop, please just stick around, come back in, and you can let me know if you missed anything, and re-say whatever we need to say. Okay, I'm not opposed to repeating myself over and over and over and over again, and you guys know that if you've been painting with me. Oh, that's okay, Kathy. Yeah, the Mother's Day paintings turned out incredible. I'm so excited how they turned out. I'm actually just really pleased with how everybody's paintings are turning out since we're doing this. Really, it's definitely really eye-opening and really wonderful. I mean, I wish I could be with you guys, but if we can't be there in public, then we just, you know, just drink and we'll get through this. Cheers. Thanks, Deb. My glass of whiskey will be done by the time this is over. But yeah, it's honing in on 7:30 here. I'm gonna get set up. So basically, I always say you don't need to start with a whole lot of paints, just a little bit at a time, because might as well save them and you can always squirt more. Susie is asking what colors we have. So we are going to start, our background colors are going to be blue and white, dark blue and teal, and then the sand is going to be light brown and white. And I'm going to get all of these on my palette right now. I haven't actually done that yet. So like I said, just squirt a little bit at a time. You don't need a whole lot of paint. And if you do, you just squirt more on. I'm so annoyed. I'm so sorry, guys. I really hope you can stick with me through this Facebook process. I'm just going to be like talking and talking. Then I'm going to look back and realize that nobody can hear me. And I'm going to be so sad. Okay, so let's just try and do the best we can here. So basically right now I'm squirting some light blue, white, some teal, and brown on my plate, just to get the party started. And my paints have been sitting around for a long time, so they have big goobers in them, and that's totally okay too. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. All right. Sure. I don't think it's you. I think it's my connection, to be honest. The internet keeps on dropping out. And I'm using these ear pods that I got for my birthday, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. Might have to fix it. So, let's see here. It's time to get this party started. So let's do it. Thank you guys for being here. Yay, Friday! Let's just do a little cheers to Friday. It's Friday night, and I feel all right. Okay, so like we are gonna do the whole background first. We got a little bit of blue and white in the sky. We're gonna take our cobalt and go straight across there, and then we'll put our little, this is all gonna come in later after we put our beach on, and then it's tricky. So I hope you guys are in for a tricky grassy night tonight. And then I'll just say it once, maybe twice, but I do get requests to donate or whatever. So if you feel like you'd like to tip or donate to the cause, I have a few links in the comment section and a few links in the description of this. Yeah, I'm sorry, Joe, that it's dropping out a lot. I really hope you guys can bear with me. I'm just going to really hope for the best right now and get started. And maybe by the time, maybe it'll warm up or something. I don't know how internet works, but this is how it's going to go. We're going to chat, and we're going to paint. And this is basically how she's done, friends. So, to get started, I am going to grab my big brush. So I have this big, well, I mean, it's not huge or anything, but I like to call him Fatty McFatter. Dang. I like to call him Fatty McFatterson, and this is a 3/4 inch flat brush. Now, I am going to grab my palette, and this whole top area up here is going to all be light blue and white combined, and we're just going to alternate the colors. Kathy, this should be done within an hour. So if we get started now, we should be good to go. So I'm going to get started. So I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of water on my brush. I'm going to take a big scoop of blue to start. And I'm just going to start, it's almost like a crisscross motion. I go one way and then pull it the other way. And then I'm going to start to add some white in there. So I take a big scoop of white and I mix the two colors together. So I have quite a bit of paint on my canvas, but I just like to move it around, and whenever I kind of swish back and forth, it brings these little wisps up into the sky that already look like clouds. You don't even have to like do anything. They just basically, it's like magic. They're like magical clouds that show up when you wisp your paintbrush. So I'm going back and forth. I would say it's kind of like a figure eight motion, but you're not doing the whole figure eight. You're kind of just one way, the other way, one way, the other way. Now, the trick for this is that we have two colors on here, and we want to mix them so that they merge together, but we also want to see each unique color together as well. So I want to see the blue, and I want to see the white, and I want to see areas where it becomes like a light blue color. So try not to overblend. And then whenever you have a few little extra canvas holes kind of popping out there, you just give your brush a little dip in your cup, a little tap on your palette, and it just fills in those little empty dry spots. Super, super easy. Now I'm going to bring this down to about 1/3 of the way down, and I want to bring it further than what it's actually going to turn out to be. So I bring it down a little extra far. So then when it's time to put our horizon line on there, we don't have any space here. We can go straight over top. And then there's no gap or anything. It's just going to be a clean line. All right. So I'm glad you guys are sticking with me, even though my connection might be kind of horrible right now. If the dang neighbors would stop using their internet, maybe I could do this. I'm just joking. I have no idea what my neighbors are doing. So, but yeah, we live in the country and we have satellite internet, very unreliable. I hear my husband curse a lot because of our internet. So if that says anything, it's great that it even works in the first place. Okay, so you can see here, I'm just going to give my brush a rinse once this is done. I have the two unique colors. You can see some of the blue and you can see some of the white, and I just bring my brush back and forth, and some areas the colors come together. It's a very like, it's almost like a Tai Chi move, like ho ya ya. Just spit back and forth and feel that flow. It's really all in the hips. Okay, and it's a definite gift to be able to mix the colors to still see the unique colors come through. Okay, so I'm giving my brush a rinse as we speak. I brought my color down 1/3 of the way, and then like I said, we are going to bring it down further than what our horizon line is going to be. So my horizon line is going to go just above this dry area here, because I want to cover it up, and then there's not going to be any gaps between the sky and the water. Okay. Cool, Jamie. Cool. I'm glad you guys are going to show up or watch this later. Awesome. Cheers to that. Okay. So we're going to try and put on the horizon line as straight as possible. Let's just remember, when we're looking out onto a horizon on the water, sometimes it can be hot, sometimes you can see little waves, and it's not always perfectly straight. Sometimes there's like little wavies back there. So let's not get overly concerned about how exact straight it is. I mean, you try and get it as straight as possible, but that's the best you can do, right? So I washed my big brush. I'm going to grab some of that cobalt blue, cobalt, royal blue. People have peacock blue, a dark blue. I think it was Kathy's daughter that said she has Pacific blue, which is a little bit more similar to our sky blue, but that's fine. As long as it's the true blue with no colors mixed in, use whatever blue you have, that's the darkest. And I always say, try and make a noise when you do this because it really helps. So I go straight on the canvas, just flat, and I'm just going to go shh. And all right, she done. Now with that line there, I'm going to start to bring my brush back and forth. And this is the secret sauce technique to making nice water. When I have paint on my brush, I go back and forth, but I go from one side of the canvas all the way to the other. I put a little pressure on my brush, so back and forth, and this color can be a little bit see-through, so that's okay. Back and forth all the way. Now, if you start to make tiny little strokes, like if you're only going halfway, you can see now I have these like really ugly brush strokes in there, and I don't want that. So I am going to go back over that one side of the canvas all the way to the other, back and forth. And I'm going to bring that down a little ways. Back and forth. This is where you start to zone out a bit. Make those wavy noises. Okay. So just gently bringing my brush back and forth. And then I don't like sticking because what we want to do is we're going to start blending in some teal in there. Oh, I just got some on my finger. It's okay. And I'm not even going to rinse my brush or anything. I'm just going to grab some teal. I have some teal on my brush. There it is. And right inside the blue, just before it becomes dry, I'm just going to start adding in the teal. And I'm going to bring it back and forth, and I'm going to go back and forth like 100 times until these two colors start to come together. Come together right now with my teal. Okay, and then back and forth. So this is what happens when you're blending, okay? You put one color down, and then you take the next color, and right where you want it to start blending, you just go over it, and over it, and over it, and back and forth, until the two colors merge, and you have a beautiful gradient. So one thing that I see a lot of when you start to put your next color on, you see this really distinct line between the colors. So I like to grab a little extra paint, and right on that line, if you have a distinct line between your two colors, we want to go back and forth over that line until they just really nicely come together. And I'm really sad that my internet isn't working very well. I sincerely apologize, guys. I wish it was better. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll move where there's like fiber optics. So I'm not going to go very far there. I got about, I'm going to say about 4 inches here. And even that's quite a bit. But I'm going to rinse my brush right when this is done. And hopefully you guys are keeping up with me. I will wait a moment, Kathy. I know you said it's Kathy's daughter. I don't know what your name is if it's not Kathy. So I might just call you Kathy. And I'll give you guys a few seconds, okay? So I'll recap what we did just for anybody who's kind of tuning in late or trying to catch up. So in the sky, we used a light blue and a white, and we mixed them together. But not so much that it became its own color. We really want to see a new color come out about in certain areas, but we want to see some of the white wispies and we want to see some of the blue wispies. And then in some areas it gets a little bit of like light blue in there. It's really pretty. So, oh good, Mark, that's really good to hear. And then I took my dark blue, whatever the darkest blue you have is. Now I would maybe veer away from navy if you don't have to use it. Navy blue can be really, I don't know, it's really transparent and sometimes it looks almost black. But anyways, if that's all you have, 100% okay. Use just a nice, I had used a cobalt blue. I went straight across so that there was no gaps between my sky. I went right over top of my sky with the horizon line. And then we just went back and forth a few times. Shoo, shoo. And then as I was moving back and forth, I started adding the teal in. Shoo, shoo, shoo. And I shooshed it down. Okay, Jim's under the weather today. Dang. Honestly, we have been down and out this week too, Jim. So I hope you feel better soon. And obviously send me your painting when you do it afterwards. Okay? So what we're going to do now, I gave my brush a really good rinse. Rinse it in my cup, rinse it in my cup. And we're going to start using the brown. And I'll just bring this in here. So I mix all the brown and white together. So I have a light brown and a white. And if you only have a dark brown, that's totally going to work too. No worries on that department. And we're pretty much going to do it exactly like we did it in the sky. So I like to use a figure 8 motion. And I like the colors to come together, but I still want to see some wispies of white amongst the brown that we're putting on there. So I always like to start with the color that it is, but you can start with the white or the brown, and we're just going to alternate it. And what we're going to try and do is, as we're alternating it up, try and end with more white towards the water area, because we're going to have some waves kind of pounding on the shore thereafter. So if this area is a little bit more white, that white and teal will blend nicely together, and it's all going to work out. So like I said, I'm actually going to start at the bottom with this. I'll just dive down a little bit more there. And I have my big brush again, nice and cleaned up. I'm going to take a big scoop of brown and shung, 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 shung. Add the brown on there, and then I take a nice scoop of white and shung, 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 shung. And I bring those two colors together. And I actually like to use quite a bit of white in the sand, which is kind of odd, but I really like the look of those wispies in the sand. So that's what I'm doing here. Just wisping about. Now, the beach is really, it's got like lots of divots and holes and little hills, and our grass is actually going to live on a hill. So as you're putting on this sandy part, just make sure that you have a couple spots for your hills. So mix this up a little bit more. So I'm going to have a hill, and it doesn't have to be distinct, super distinct or anything. I just take a little extra brown, and I'm going to put a hill here. And if this doesn't work out, don't be too concerned about it, because you're literally just covering up. This is just literally for our brains to be happy to know that there's going to be grass living on our hills. And and I'm going to put another little hill right there. Okay, so you can barely see them. They totally blend in with the sand. They really don't have a lot of they're not very important, so you really shouldn't see them very much, but like I said, it's just literally for our brains to be happy. And then as I'm working up towards the water, I'm going to grab some white, big scoop of white, and I'm going to start cruising along this water line here. Now I want it to be white there so the sand can start to kind of evaporate and turn into the water. So I'm going to take this white and just along this area a little bit more. And you'll be able to see some of that teal pop through the background of the white, and that's cool. And then you might even get a little bit of brown mixed in there, and you can totally just think of it as like where the sand and the water meet, and then there's like the sandy, gooey water, and and yeah, so basically I put in two little spots where there's hills here, and you can barely see them. So I put one right here. I just put just the plain brown on and scooped it up. Went like this, and then I took another one and went right over top of it. And then I just took my brush and went back and forth in the hills. Now, these hills are going to be completely covered up with grass in the end, so I really don't want you guys to concentrate too much on the area. It's literally just because our brains like to know where things are going to live on our painting. So when you put those little tiny little hill parts on there, your brain's just like, oh, okay, I feel so much more secure now that I know where my grass is going to live, right? So tiny little hill here, tiny little hill here, and then we're going to whoosh, 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 and bring that paint together. Now, I had a significant amount of paint on my brush while I was doing this. And just keep that in mind. To get the best blends and these nice colors, you have to have enough paint on your brush. If you don't, you end up with a lot of dry areas. And if you don't have enough paint, you can always add a little bit of water into your paint just to extend it. And it really helps merge some of the colored areas. So adding just a tiny little bit of water to your brush and then dabbing it on your palette or inside your paint first is really going to fill in any little crevices or canvas holes that are popping through, any dry areas. And And I'll show you like exactly what I mean by that. So say I have a dry area over here. I literally take my brush, okay? I do a dip, 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 tiny, tiny little dip, and then I do a little tiny little dip on my palette. So just that tiny bit of water in my paint, just magically, it's like total magic, fills in any tiny little holes that might be popping through my canvas, any little dry spots. And the reason I dip it on my plate first, or I give it a dab on my plate, is because you really don't want to like go into a really nice area to fill it in, and then it drips, and then it takes off all the paint, and then it looks like it's crying, and then it makes you cry, and then this whole downward spiral is really hard to fix. So whenever you put paint or water on your paintbrush to fix anything, just dab it on your palette first. It's such a good rule of thumb. Dip and dab. The old dip and dab. So, yeah, how simple was that? Now we have this beautiful background already, and all we need to do is put some waves in. Easy as pie. So, give you guys a minute to catch up there, and I'm going to give my big brush a good rinse because that's what we're using for our waves here. So the waves on the canvas look a heck of a lot more complicated than what they are. And waves are very, very, very much like trees. So I always say about trees or anything that I'm making like that, I can show you how I do it, and it doesn't seem difficult, whatever I'm doing, but everybody kind of has their own style. So I really want you to embrace your style and how you put the waves on, because it doesn't matter how you put them on, they're gonna look like waves. Okay? Oh, so funny. Okay, let's see. Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry it's hard. Honestly, it's all practice. It's all good. So don't be overly concerned with the hardness of it. I guarantee once you get actually through the painting, if you can let go a little bit, it'll all come together. Yes, Maureen, I hate when my paintings cry. It's actually like very heartbreaking. And oh, thanks, Sladina. And Helen came in late, but I'm catching up the best I can. Oh, thanks, Helen. That's great. Helen, I'll give you a quick recap. So, blue and white in the sky. Don't mix it so much that it turns into the right color, one color. You still want to see some white wispies on there. We took our dark blue and we go straight across, and we go back and forth until it looks okay. We don't make little brush strokes. We make nice long brush strokes back and forth. And as we're doing that, we start to add the teal in and work our teal down. We give our brush a rinse, then we start at the bottom and we do the same thing as the sky. We got some white and brown. And as we move up towards the water, we put extra white. Super quick recap. So now we are going to put some waves on, and it is infuriating how simple it is. Okay, so I'll just give you a look at the original one more time. So what I'm going to do, oh, no palette, no! Oh no, that was a travesty. Give me one sec, I just dropped my palette on my carpet. Very smooth move, Julie, very, very smooth move. 1 second here, just gonna wipe up these big globbers of paint off the floor. Oh my goodness, okay. I'm glad you guys didn't see that. You just heard it. All right, so the waves right here, I literally just take my brush and I put a bunch of white on my brush and I kind of drag it. And this is the movement I use with my brush. I almost like lay the paint down on it, and I wiggle my brush along, and then sometimes I'll bring it on its side and cruise around, but really these are just wiggles of paint here. And then once I put a few strokes of white on, I then grab some extra teal and squiggle in some extra teal in there. So let's lay the paint on. We'll lay it on our hands and lay down the paint. So I'm gonna take my big old brush. Okay. Oh no, it's all good. It actually was, it sounded a lot worse than it was. I got 2 big gobs of paint on there, but no worries. That's what studios are for, to get all messy. So I now have a nice clean brush here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab my white paint. And I'm going to start right at this baseline here. And I just kind of drag my brush. So nice big scoop of white. I'm just going to lay there. Now, I really like the waves to be textured. So I just glob it on there. Big globs. And I start working it up towards the sky. And I'm seeing, so sometimes when you start to layer paint on top of each other, you can get some dry spots. So I'm just going to give a little dip in my cup, and then a little dip on my palette, and then filled in just like that. Now I give it a little push, I wiggle and I shoot, and I push and I wiggle and shoot, and I do that back and forth. And just like Bob Ross always said, the great Bob Ross, this is your world. Okay, so you can put as few or as many waves on as you'd like, and it's all an illusion. So when we're painting, we're not actually painting the exact replica of waves. We are insinuating and imitating like they are waves. And guess what? Everybody gets it. Everybody gets that they're waves. Nobody's gonna be like, oh, what's that white stuff there? Duh, it's waves. Okay. Kathy, that's okay if it's still wet. It should be, it's actually good if it's still wet. Mine's dry now. So if it is wet, just let that white and teal and blue come together like a magique. And now I'm going to put this wavy area on. I still want a little space of blue up here, but however far you went with your water, this is going to be a little bit different in this area. Just keep adding the waves until there's a little bit of space left here. But as I kind of move up, I'm going to start to add, I'm going to put a few extra down here on the beach, like they're crashing on the beach. Here we go. But as I'm moving up, I'm going to start to add a little bit of teal in. And I don't even really wash my brush. I just grab a little like side of teal, and I'm just going to take that and basically scrape it in. So I'm using just that edge and brush back and forth. Back and forth. And these waves turn tealy up here, like they're getting further away, so they start taking on the color of the water a little bit more. Back and forth. So I'm just very gently dragging my brush. It goes up and down, up and down. And then you can take a little extra teal and kind of wisp it in this area too if you want. You can even take some, if you want to take some of that dark blue and bring it in there too. Honestly, it's going to look really, really pretty. So I start by like really glopping it on here. And as I start to move up my canvas, I try and get a little bit more gentle, a little bit more like I try and make it a little bit more linear and less gloppy. And really just gently bringing my brush back and forth. It's almost like when you're riding in a boat and you're hitting the waves, you're like, kind of like what your brush is doing. It's like basically hitting sometimes and kind of flipping off the canvas here. So it's just dragging back and forth. Oh, I like this. And honestly, I've done this painting 100 times and it always looks different. So I always try and embrace that day. Maureen, I'm all about making things as easy as possible. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. Or no, it wasn't Bob, was it? I'm trying to remember. Was it Nicole? Okay, so just bear with me. So what I've been doing, I'm just taking my brush and little bits of paint at a time. So I started with big globs of white, and it's nice and textured, so I can see some embossing going on there. Excuse me. Your water. Well, Danielle, if yours isn't turning out, all I can say is it just takes practice, and the more you do, the better you get. And I've seen that over and over and over again with my students. I have a lot of people that start off like very unsure and not knowing, but just really enjoyed the process. Okay, so that's the biggest thing right now. Not get, oh man, I'm dropping out again. I'm sorry, guys. This is not cool. But if you can really enjoy the process and get over the fact that it doesn't look exactly like mine, it's just about actually completing something and making it work. And if you can, if you can get through the whole painting, that is such a huge accomplishment, because it's really hard to finish a lot of things. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I can go over. Yes, sorry guys. I know. I just like every time I look back, it seems to be good. And then I just looked and it said I was like recording the video, which means that you guys are not hearing what I'm saying, which is super sad. So yeah, I'll go over this again. So basically I was just putting white on there, and I, like a motorboat, I let my brush kind of hip hop over the canvas. So I'm still seeing some of the background color shooting through my little wavies, just back and forth. I'm like really lightly just hitting the canvas. And as I'm moving up the canvas, I start to add in little bits of teal. And if you want, you can totally grab some of that dark blue too, and just really gently. So I have it just on the very edge of my brush here. And I'm using the flat end of it, and I'm pulling it across, pulling it back and forth, and letting some of those colors come together. And then letting it just do its thing. Now, honestly, I can't say that anybody's has ever looked like mine, and that's so wonderful, because it really should look like your painting. Okay? It really should not look exactly like mine. This is your painting. So try and embrace that. Yeah, it's all about art, relaxing and putting it in the laundry room. That's hilarious. Oh man, I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep apologizing for the internet. No, it is not good tonight. I am so sorry. I haven't really had any issues like this for my private parties, thank goodness. But I think there's just something about Facebook that isn't the best. So these are all learned times for me, and I will be dialing in this process a lot more over the next month or so. And for anybody who tuned in late, I will be changing things up a little bit. I am considering creating a pretty sweet, significant membership site. It's going to be really, really simple. But if you get on my email list, just go to juliespaintparty.com, put in your email. You guys are going to be the first to know, and you're going to be able to get it at an incredibly crazy cheap price. If you, yeah, so you got to be on that. I don't know exactly when, but soon. It'll be soon. Figure that out. And I'm just going to chat for a minute while you guys, yeah, Danielle, I do have Zoom, and I use Zoom for my private parties. And then I got to figure out how to use other streaming services for this, because it's just not fun when it's not working, right? I like painting with you guys, and I really want it to work. So, I'll just, figure it out. Facebook's the best, though, because anybody can just hop on and watch, which I really like. Now, that's it for the background. So as you guys are kind of finishing up your waves, don't overthink it. Just cruise that brush back and forth and get those little wavies on there. And you remember, it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. And right now I'm going to start to squirt my other colors on my brush or on my palette. So I have some red that I'm going to put on there, and you don't need a whole lot, just a little bit. A little bit of red, a little bit of orange, tiny little bit of orange, and a tiny little bit of this. I have this like leafy green color. And like we're just using a very little amount of it, okay? We're not using a whole lot. So this is what it looks like on my palette. I found 3 empty spaces in between all my other, like I don't even take my own rules. Look how much paint I have left over from the background. That's crazy. I could have used way less paint. I have some red and some orange and some green on there. And when we're making a grass, we'll end up using all the colors, but these are going to be our first 3 colors that we use. And I am going to use my long skinny brush. Okay, Carrie, I'll definitely look into that. Thank you. Caffeine TV, that sounds like my jam. I love caffeine. I'm a big coffee. Yeah, Donna, I guess you have to go to all of my parties. I really miss my parties. I really hope I can do them soon enough. But I do have a private paid party coming up. So we're doing this lighthouse. That's really, really pretty. So this is going to be on May 31st. We're going to do this lighthouse together. And it is a paid party, so you do have to sign up for it. And if you live in the area, you can add on your supplies and you can add on quesadillas from Garfield's. So just something to look into. That should be up on my Facebook page under the events button. So if you go look there, we should find it. Now, I just want everybody to take a deep breath. Okay. Let's all be together. Ooh, Kathy, I may have hit up Hero Discount the other day and I may have grabbed a lot of paint. I'm sorry if I grabbed it all. I'm glad you got some white. White is definitely the most important part of this process. We use a lot of white in all the paintings. So, yeah. Oh, thanks, Helen. Yeah, I know it's really, really pretty. I really like the lighthouse and it's totally my jam. Yeah, the owner at Hero Discount, he was just like, you're gonna take that much paint? He almost didn't let me take it. And I had my mask on, I was loading a bag like a little troll. Oh, anyways, okay, so now for the grass, I just want us all to take a nice deep breath, okay? And just know that we can do it. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get through this, okay? And I always use a nice long skinny brush. So this is a 1-inch liner brush. And when you fill this bad boy up full of paint and really just gently bring your grassiness, just barely graze the canvas, you can get some really beautiful grass. But we are gonna start with little grass first. So we're gonna practice our grass, our little grass, and get used to it. And as you get more used to it, we're gonna make longer grasses and then maybe like 4 or 5 really long grasses, okay? Grasses is a word, right? Right? It is now. Okay, so we are using mostly red, okay, for the grass. We're going to use some red and some orange and some light green. And then we're going to bring in some of the blue, the cobalt blue in there. And we're going to mix some of the colors up. We're even going to put a little extra brown. We're going to start to mix some colors together. But I'll show you how this goes down. So actually, I'm going to turn you back one more time. So this is what I like to do. When I'm using one of these brushes, I'll probably explain this at every single party because it's the secret sauce technique to make really nice grass. So I have my cup here and I have my red paint here. So red's a little transparent to begin with, so we don't need a whole lot of water. I'm gonna take like 3 drippies of water. Okay, so check this out. I made this like little pool in the crevice of my plate here. it's got water there, little water pool, and I just bring in some of that red into that little pool. So I'm loosening up my paint. I'm making it nice and liquidy. Come on, internet. Okay. Please tell me there's a few South Park fans out there that have seen the internet episode where they have to like all pilgrimage to California to get the internet. Let me know if you know that one. It's faves. So going down California way to get some internet. And that's honestly how I feel a lot of the time here in Colchester. Okay, so I have put several drops of water next to my red, and I'm slowly bringing in a little bit of red into my water. So I have this liquidy area, and then I have the regular paint area, and maybe even one more drop. So bringing it in, mixing it up, and I'm getting my brush nice and full of paint, okay? Super, super duper nice and full. So check this out. It's like so full, and it, like if you grab a big scoop, it should drip a little bit. Ha, Bob, I'm glad you know that one. It's the best ever. And then, so the thing is, we put extra water so it gets extra drippy, but we don't want it to drip down our canvas. So I always squeegee my paintbrush. Okay, so I get it really nice and full, and I pull and I twist off some of that excess paint. So now I have a nice full paintbrush. Okay. You have paint splatter on your phone, you have to stop just because a paint splatter's on your phone. I have paint splatters all over my phone. You don't have to stop. And yes, it will be up after, so you're okay. Anyways, so I pull and I squeegee off some of that excess water. Now I have a nice full brush. So as I'm really gently bringing my brush up and off my canvas when I'm making my paintbrush strokes, I barely graze the canvas, and there's something magical that happens. All of this paint that I have in here will filter down to the tippy top, so you're able to make these really nice long strokes, okay? But like I said, we're gonna start with the little guys because then we can practice, okay? So I have my brush full of red, and I always put my finger down just to give my hand a little bit of stability. I'll get in a little bit closer here, okay? So really gentle. I'm barely touching the canvas. I start at the bottom and I up and off, up and off, up and off. And these are all little grassies popping up. Now, they get a little taller in the middle and they start to taper off on the sides, which actually helps insinuate that there's a hill there as well. So as I'm kind of cruising down my hill, I just really gently, so I'm barely even touching the canvas, just trying to get little flicks of grass in there, okay? So this is our practice grass. Really just nice little guys along the edge to start, and I'm following the scape of my hill. Now, if you can't see your hill, that's okay. Just do it in an arcing shape. Try and keep your grass going in a archy type fashion. And I'm really just gently gonna bring my brush. And you can see I'm very seasoned at grass, so I can start to go a little bit quicker here. And I really, really taper off as I go down. Tiny little grasses over there, okay? And then tiny little grass over here. Now, and once you kind of start to get the flow of that, you can start to get a little bit longer. So try doubling the size. And don't try and be a hero and do it all in one fell swoop. If you have to go back for your paint, load it back up, give it another squeegee. Now, we can't always trust our brush to be the same. Sometimes you got to go back to your palette and remanipulate it. Give it another point on the end or flatten it out if that's easier for you. And we're just going to get longer and longer and longer. Now, if you want to wait till last to do all of your long grassy knoll marks, that's cool too. So this is my second hill here. And this is definitely the monotonous part of the painting. So take your time. No rushy rush. All good. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Going down California way to get me some internet. Honestly, though, we don't even have cable here. Okay, so once you start getting lubed up a little bit, start getting taller and taller. Now, as I'm doing this, what's going to happen, I'm just going to show you guys really quick here. On my painting, you can see I have this shadow here, all right? Now, whenever your light source is coming from somewhere, which mine is obviously coming from this side of my paint, where am I? This side of my painting over here, okay? The sun would be hitting the grass and your shadow would be casted this way. If it was coming from over here, your shadow would be casted this way. So, as you're putting your grassy knoll on, we're going to start to drag all of the colors backwards into our sand. And I just use whatever excess I have on my brush and pull it in. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're getting all grassy. We're putting our grass on. And I do this with every single color that we put in there. So, so I have my grass on there. And then when my brush is done, I take my brush and I just pull backwards. So this is all, I start at the grass and I pull back. And I take all the excess paint off. If you have to give it a little dip in the water first, just to kind of give it a little bit more watery. And you can see I start here, but I'm always pulling back in the same direction. Always pulling back in the same direction. So it's a very diagonal. Back, 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 back. Just like that. And I'm going to do it on both sides. So grab some of that red and pull it back. And this is just the beginning of our shadowiness here. A little bit of shadowiness going on here. I always like to make noises. And it's pretty streaky, but that's okay. We're actually going to start to add in other colors in there, and it's going to start to look really beautiful. And I have to say, and I can't stress enough, that the more colors you use in your grass, the more vibrant and amazing your painting is going to look. So don't hesitate to get some color in there and really start working it, okay? So this is the longest grass I made, but I really want to go from the bottom, and I want my grass to reach all the way up to the sky. Check this guy out, okay? So it's really going to depend on where your horizon line is. I mean, if your horizon line's way up here, just don't worry about how tall your grass is going to get. And if you made it lower, even better. It means that you don't have to go as far with your grassies. But these guys go all the way up into the sky here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 grassies that go all the way up there. And I always end up taking a deep breath when I do it. And I always make sure my brush is nice and loaded up with paint, okay? So, for the long grassies, I have my brush and I get it really nice and loaded up, really full, okay? Super duper full. And then just give it a little squeegee, or you can pull back and forth just to get some of the excess water off on there. Really, really nice and full. Deep breaths for this one, okay? And you don't have to go fast because your brush is nice and full of paint, so it should last the whole time. And you know what? It's a little bit stressful, so I commend anybody who can get through this and just go for it. I really want you guys to try and go for this. It is really good practice, okay? So we've put on tiny little guys, and now it's time to go for the big guns. Got a couple guys going this way. Ah! If you have to scream while you're doing it, go ahead. I'm here for you. And I'm going to start to make just a few longer guys. Make one more and coming out of here. Yeah. Yow. Pretend like you're like Axl Rose. We're like, yow! No, is that a more, that's, yeah, it gets a little, maybe more Steven Tyler. Hi-ya-yow! That's how you should feel when you're making your long grassies. And you don't have to do a whole lot of them. I know, Susan, honestly. They're really crazy, these guys. Now, like I said, I commend you, but if you want to keep your grass shorty, I fully understand, okay? But at the tops of my little grasses, the long ones anyways, I put tiny little flowers, and really they're just little dots. So I'll get really, really close here. And then right at the tippy tops of my grass, I just go boop. Oh wait, boop. I missed. Boop, 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 boop. So they're kind of like cattails. I just push my brush. You can even kind of give it a little scribble if you want to, just like a little scribble about there. It's not like a whole lot. Just a few spots where Kathy says my waves are wet, so I'll do the long grass later. That's a really good idea. Just get the shorty grass done, and you can do some grass like, you know, in your beach area and still give them little flowers. These guys can have tiny flowers too. So I'm just taking my brush and I'm making tiny little dots. Dot, 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 dot. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is that exact same process, only with all the other colors. And the other colors don't go up super tall and long, so nothing to worry about. We're just going to do little guys. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to put some water next to my orange paint. And I'm going to get my orange paint nice and liquidy. And then I'm going to squeegee off some of the excess water on my orange. And start putting some orange grassies in here. And like I said, the more colors you can put in your grass, the more vibrant and beautiful your painting is going to be. Okay, so don't be shy. I keep missing. That's how light I'm trying to go right now, that I keep missing the canvas. And then whenever I'm done with a color, I take that excess water and I bring it back into my sand, the same direction as the red that I put in there in the first place. So we're going to start to layer some of these colors on top there, and they're going to make their own little shadow action on our beach. And really, really filling this up. So I got some orange, and then I'm also going to put some green. So I'm adding some water in my green paint. And throwing that up there, little green pieces. And then whenever I'm done with my green, I take that green and I pull it back into my sand, right along with my red and my orange. Really vibe it up. Let's get crazy. Psychedelic grass. I'm super duper appreciative of you guys sticking around, considering that my internet was total garbage tonight. I assume it's my internet. I don't know what else it would be. Maybe it's just the world's internet. Because, you know, I have to say, I've watched some live streams and even celebrities don't have the best internet. I mean, it could be a little bit better, but nobody's getting along with like high quality live videos these days. I feel like they are just, we're in mediocre video land. So I put some color in, I drag it back, put some color in, drag it back. I'm going to take some of that cobalt blue. And the interesting thing is that you can start to mix some of your colors together. So I just dip my water in my brush and I'm going to grab some blue. Oh, that's pretty. I like it. pretty blue. And you can mix some of that blue with your red and make a beautiful purple color. And then now that I put some blue in there, I just take my brush and shoo, shoo, shoo. I'm going to drag back some of those colors into my sand. So pretty. Right, Joe? Total first world problems. Indeed. That's why I'm not really complaining. I'm just grateful that everybody's sticking around. It's just is what it is. This whole flipping scenario is what it is, and we're just getting through it the best we can. Okay, so ooh, I get super excited when the blue comes into play because it's really pretty. Okay, bring some of that blue down, put the color in, and then drag it back, and then you start to have this kind of weird rainbowy texture of color flying back from your canvas here. And like I said, grab some of that blue and red and mix it together and make some beautiful purpley grasses and nice and dark. And the darker you get, the more little you can get along this line here. So if you take some of those little extra blues and just put a few along this edge just to kind of darken it up at the bottom a little bit. It doesn't have to be the whole thing, just in a few little different spots there. Purple. All right. And I just keep working on this until I feel like my grassy knoll is complete. Purple back in there. So pretty. And then I can also put a few highlights in my little flowers too. So take little bits of white or even orange. You can kind of put a few little dots just to highlight the sides of your flowers or put little extra texture areas in there. I think I put a little bit too much water in my red because I can see a lot of my ocean kind of poking through my red there. So I'm going to try and give it another go. Yay. That's so scary. Okay. Okay, so now the last thing we need to do is just put in a couple little sand dollars and a couple little seagulls up in the mix. And I do have this tiny little mini detail brush, pointer brush that I like to use, or just use the liner brush that you have. We're just using what we got here. So I will use the liner brush to start, just to kind of show you. So 2 sand dollars, put them anywhere. Just try and avoid putting them somewhere that's extra white or else they'll get really, really lost. So I'm going to put one here and it's just a circle, just a wee little circle there. Can you even see that? Nope. I'm going to get a little closer. There we go. Tiny little circle here. And then a tiny little circle here. And they don't have to be perfect circles. Just, you know, like those shells, they're not perfect. They have little wiggles in them and little imperfections. I'm going to do that to start. And then I'm also going to put a couple little seagulls in the sky. So I feel like your first instinct when putting on a seagull is to do like a McDonald's M, like one of these. But I feel like the best seagulls start from the center and flick out from each side. So you have a little point where its little head's supposed to be, and then when you flick out its wings from the center like a V, then you have nice ends on each side of your seagulls. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of white with my brush. Get a little bit closer. And let's see here. Okay. So when you're putting on the seagulls, I start, and they're just so small. I just do tiny little flicks, like smaller than the grass. Okay. So put my brush down and I flick one way and I flick the other way. And I do that like 5 times. And they can all be they don't have to be going in the same direction. And they don't all have to be the same size. But I like to start in the center and I flick out one way. And I flick out the other way. And you can get them real small too if you want, just like barely even touch. These seagulls are far, far, far away. And whoop. Just little guys. And it's okay if they have a little bit of like wiggle in their wings. You don't know what direction they're going. They could be flying away or flying towards us. Who knows? All right, so. A crab, really? Maybe. I'll put a crab. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can put a crab. That makes me nervous. I have this kids book that I wrote a long time ago, and one of the characters is called Krabby McCrabberson, and he's a cartoon crab, but I just don't feel like a cartoon crab would suit this particular painting. Now, for my sand dollars, I'm going to take my wee little liner brush here, my detail brush, and I grabbed the same brown that I used in the actual sand, and I put a little star in each one. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of brown, and I just go meep. So it's got 5 little points, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a little more, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you want to get super fancy, you can actually give it a little shadow too, right around that edge there. So small. These are so small. So just go with what you're comfortable with. If it's too small, I fully understand, but it's kind of cool to have that little shadowy area underneath. It really looks like they're kind of embedded in the sand a little bit. Oh, crab, hey? Challenge. Susan telling her to do it. I don't think there's any room on my painting for a crab, to be honest. It would have to be really, really small. I can't do it. I feel like I would have to like look up a Google image of a crab to make it work. So that's your challenge, friends. What other sea creatures can we put on our beach? Starfish, perhaps? A crab is a good one. What other sea creatures are on there? Just seashells in general. I could do a seashell. How would we do a seashell? So I'm gonna just grab my little brush here, and you can do like one of these. So this guy's got like a couple little lumpies there that come around, and then he's like that. And then a couple little lines to bring him in there. That was a really sad seashell. Maybe it would be better if it was like in blues or whatever. But voila! That's done. Ooh, jellyfish would be good. I actually want to do a jellyfish painting. So it's in my inspiration folder on my phone. Yeah, and that's something that I'm considering doing. So like if I would start a membership, I would definitely be taking on everybody's ideas to make sure everybody's happy with the paintings. We could do critiques. And then we would do, a few live paintings a month together. I think it'll be pretty cool, to be honest. Now, when you're doing your grass, don't be afraid to use any other colors. If you wanted to put, I don't even know, like you could put brown or even use a little bit of black along this area here. All good. So I am so overjoyed that you guys joined me today for my painting. And as soon as I am done this live feed, I be posting it on Facebook, so you will be able to go to my videos folder on my Facebook page and rewatch the video, which recorded when it was kind of cutting out, so that's a good thing. I really, really appreciate you guys showing up tonight. I can't tell you how grateful I am. And please, when you get the opportunity, just share as much as you possibly can. Shares really go a long way. I really am so grateful for them. Oh, you know what? That's kind of the culprit here. There's a lot of fat grasses that end up happening, so we just kind of have to embrace the fat grass. And maybe you can go back. You can always practice on a different sheet of paper, or grass is definitely a learned practice process. I've seen this painting in particular, it's really easy until you put the grass on, and that's just normal. So let me see here. What are you guys saying? Yep, Helen, and then you could just keep it to small grassies too. That's a good way to do it. Will I post the colors for the painting? I enjoyed watching your video. Oh, thank you, Kathy. So there's a post on my page that has all the supplies that you need for this painting. So just scroll down and you'll see what paints and brushes that you need. And that'll be up. So just keep scrolling until you see a painting with paints. And then let's see, Roxana, I'm just practicing everything right now. We'll do the actual painting when you're done. Nice. This is not on Zoom. But my private parties are. So the parties that I have, the lighthouse party that I have coming up on the 31st, that's via Zoom. So you get a special Zoom link, and then you get access to the replay later that you can download onto your computer. This is just on Facebook, so it's getting downloaded straight to my Facebook page in my video section of my page. Thanks, Helen. I'm really glad you came. Thanks, Annette. Oh, good. I'm glad you loved it. That's so awesome. Why not just take a lighter color like white and paint a blade in the middle of the fat grass? Thank you, Gail. That is a wonderful, and that's why it's great to have community. Split that grass in half. Good call. And then, I mean, you could actually one step at a time go over it like with your water, and then, paint over it white, and then go over everything again. That does happen sometimes. Sometimes you need to fix it up. Sometimes you just need to start from scratch and try it again. Okay, thanks, Diane. That's so nice. Yeah, the short grasses are good. Thanks, Nicole. I'm glad you got my South Park shtick there. Thanks, Marg. I'm glad you found me too. Yay. Just remember, guys, go to my website, juliespaintparty.com. Type in your address so that updates. I send out one newsletter a month. I might send out a couple more as I'm kind of building this up. So I won't over inundate you with emails if you sign up. Okay. Perfect. I'm glad, Roxana. That's great. Okay. We have to get one of your many parties. Oh, thanks, Donna. I really appreciate that. Yeah, honestly, that's totally a thing too. Grab some around and just paint over the whole thing and start fresh. That's something that you can totally do. Yay, thanks, guys. Oh, thanks, Susie. Love you so much. Yep, Amy, that is super normal. Everybody's always good to the grass. And grass is supposed to be a fun thing. But long grassies are very sneaky bastards. Good, I'm glad you had fun. And this is really just all practicing, right? Everybody's a beginner sometimes, and if you're enjoying the process, just sticking it out and actually finishing the painting is your best bet. Just think finished, not perfect. Just get her done, and then the next time you do it, it'll be even better. And it takes practice. You just got to keep going for it. Oh, good, Nancy. I can't wait to see. So you guys have to send me or tag me, post them on my page, send me a message, just let me know. And guys, I started a Facebook group and I don't have any clue what to do with it. So I appreciate that everybody's in there. And honestly, as much as you can participate, that'd be so awesome. I love how good everybody is at encouraging each other. It's really cool. I just don't even really know what to do with it yet. So I'm working on all this stuff. All right. Yay. Thanks. Yep. That was fun. Good fun. Hard grass. Okay, guys, on that note, thank you so much for being here. Go put your email in. Stay tuned for more paintings. We're going to continue our children's woodland creature paintings next week. And just keep an eye out for more information about how my business is going to change coming up. Okay? Thank you. Enjoy this wonderful evening. I will see you soon. Bye, friends.